There's been recently an interview between Jordan Peterson and Richard Dawkins, mediated by Alex O'Connor. Hearing this debate sparked an interesting idea that just begged to be explored. Do you need God to be a Christian? The interview was kind of funny. They talked past each other. It was a frame of reference issue. Richard Dawkins operates within a world centered entirely on facts, biological facts, tangible facts.
Do you believe Jesus was born a virgin? Are you saying that Abraham did or did not sacrifice Isaac? Are you saying that Jesus really did die for our sins? I mean, do you believe that? Do you believe that as a fact? This is Cain. I mean, you don't believe Cain actually existed, I presume. It's not a value. It's a simple fact. I mean, did a man have intercourse with Mary and produce Jesus? That's a factual question.
Jordan Peterson, on the other hand, stands on the opposite end of the aisle. He focuses on deeper meanings, archetypes, the world of the values, the divine.
The Bible as a text gives us nothing to indicate that it has divine origin. There's nothing that we can read in it where we think there's no way this idea could have evolved were it not divinely put into this text. That's a criticism that perhaps Professor Dawkins made in the past.
Well, I think it's reflective of some order that's so profound and implicit that there isn't a better way of describing it than divine. But I don't really care if we look at that from the bottom up, like as a biological phenomena, or as from the top down. I don't think it makes any difference.
It doesn't make a difference whether it was divinely inspired or whether it evolved within human.
I don't think look, okay, so let me ask you this. Like, I think that at bottom, truth is unified. And what that's going to mean eventually is that the world of value and the world of fact coincide in some manner that we don't yet understand. And I think that union, the fact of that union and the fact of that union is equivalent to what's being described as divine order across millennia. There's no difference. Now, and this is a tricky business, because you either believe that the world of truth is unified in the final analysis, or you don't. Those are the options. And if it's not unified, then there's a disunity. There's a contradiction between value and fact, or there's a contradiction between different sets of values, and they can't be brought into unity. I don't believe that.
Well,
this echoes Plato's concept, the physical sensible world and the abstract intelligible world of forms. Essentially, it's a bottom-up approach versus a top-down approach. Two parallel ways of understanding reality, separated by the God of the gaps. As Peterson says, this world might only converge when value and fact are united. Basically, when every question is figured out. The real confusion lies in their fundamental differences. Dawkins and Peterson are talking past each other because they exist in different intellectual worlds, two parallel worlds that never meet. Here is where I think Alex fell short. He tried to mediate, but he came from the same side as Dawkins, grounded in facts, instead of a neutral position that could have engaged both perspectives.
Yeah, my job is to keep things on track here. I think there are a number of questions which Professor Dawkins has asked quite directly that we still haven't really heard an answer for.
Okay.
You must understand what you're being asked here, that even if you think that, say, the author of the biblical texts intended much more significance than a simple scientific analysis of events, Professor Dawkins is interested in scientific truth. When you say that this divine spirit behind the Bible is actually just the way that it has evolved throughout the human history, throughout the different manuscripts that we've had, then saying that that is what divinity is, I think, for you may drag the mundane up into the realm of divinity. But I think for people like Richard and for many people listening, what it does instead is drags the divine down to the realm of the mundane.
Very well put, yes.
Peterson is often pressed about his beliefs, but he has a habit of giving ambiguous answers, never clear-cut. To someone like Dawkins, who values clarity, this evasiveness might come off as irrational. But is it truly irrational to avoid clear-cut answers to these questions? Peterson could have explained why are questions like, did the virgin birth really happen, are to him distractions from more important ideas. He never clearly communicated why the existence of God or Jesus doesn't hold much weight in his worldview.
Let's stick to the virgin birth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the virgin birth results from a mistranslation of Isaiah. You know that.
Like these sorts of questions, what would you say? They don't strike me as they're not getting to the point.
I know
the
that.
story
I know
has
you
a
think
purpose.
that. Yes.
Well, and look, I understand that there's perfect reasons to debate this. I know that, and I know that your question is more than valid, but it's beside the issue as far as I'm concerned. And
here is a story that might be applicable for figuring out Peterson's mindset. Years ago, I wrestled with my own religious upbringing. I grew up in a Calvinistic Protestant fundamentalist community. I faced the dilemma: how should I square Christianity with the fact that I don't believe? I came to understand later, belief itself was irrelevant. This idea that took me a while to grasp reminds me of Peterson's position here. It would have been nice if Alex asked Peterson a question like, why are factual questions about the Bible are misleading in your view? I don't know Peterson's answer, but mine would be, it's not about whether Jesus literally rose from the dead or God's existence is a concrete fact. If God would exist right now, how would our daily life change? Likely nothing would shift. God would exist, but we wouldn't know. Like Schrödinger's God, belief can exist in a superposition, neither true or false until it's observed, but that observation isn't within our capacity currently. Peterson is comfortable living in that superposition, entertaining ideas and possibilities. However, Dawkins wants to collapse it into certainty. Now back to my experience. If you accept Schrödinger's God, you can live as Schrödinger's Christian or an agnostic Christian, appreciating the community and values without literal belief. At this point, morality becomes a matter of acting rightly because it's inherently good and not because of heaven or hell. Kant would argue that actions motivated by punishment or reward are not moral. That means if you do good for an anticipated reward, your actions at best are amoral, but never moral. If you are an agnostic Christian, your drive to do good comes from the recognition of goodness in itself and free from the fear of divine retribution, making them moral in the Kantian sense. Why then not abandon Christianity altogether and just do good? Maybe because you are like Peterson and find value in Christianity and the culture that it provides. I know this is a tough concept, especially for Protestants. Picture this. If Jesus would meet someone who didn't believe in God, but would follow his teachings because he sees them as inherently good, then he's told if he doesn't believe, he's bound for hell. He would reply, I'm not doing the right things for a heavenly reward, but for they are the righteous things to do. How would Jesus respond to this? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So, can you be a Christian without belief in God? If your worldview aligns with meaning and values, then maybe yes. But if your worldview aligns with Dawkins' world of facts, then there is no room for ambiguity. Peterson's hesitant agnostic stance, saying that I live as if God exists, reminds me of this agnostic Christian I just painted. Meanwhile, Dawkins' binary true or false thinking, almost fundamentalist mindset, reminds me of the black and white thinking of religious fundamentalism.
I'm a naive literalist.
The very thing he criticizes, of course, there is a difference between the two. One is binary thinking applied to the world of values, and the other is to the world of facts. What would be the opposite of this? Maybe open-mindedness and curiosity. I would love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you disagree, leave a comment. Bye.